City Tribes is on location at the Landlord Investment Show Spring Edition taking place at Olympia in London. We've had to come outside of the hall because it's just so noisy in there. The Landlord buzz is incredible. And I'm joined now by Shaf from Brent Council Housing Department. And Shaf, I spotted your stand straight away and I'm very curious. I think I know the answer. Why are you here?
So hi, we're basically here to attract landlords and letting agents who have properties that they want to give us, so we can help our vulnerable clients on our waiting list that need housing. So we're here to attract landlords really.
So I'm assuming that there's a shortage of private sector landlords in your borough.
There is, I mean, especially over the last year, we've seen private rents go up astronomically. This had an impact on clients that are on low income, saying they can't afford these high rents. So at the moment, we are finding it very difficult and challenging attracting these landlords. But we have got some special incentives for landlords. The LHA rates are due to go up next month, so we're hoping that's going to sort of attract landlords back to Brent Council and housing tenants.
And you have some schemes and kind of incentives to bring landlords in.
We do,
Does that include kind of upfront payments?
There is, So our preferred scheme is basically where we place clients in the private sector. So we incentivise landlords by giving them a one-off incentive, and then it's a private tenancy between the landlord and the tenant. That's our preferred option.
Right.
Those rents are at the LHA rate, which, like I said, is going to go up next month. So we've seen in Brent that's going to have a big impact. Sometimes the rents are going up by £200 a month. So again, it's not the private market rent, but we do incentivise landlords with a free service, and we give them a cash incentive. The other option we've got is temporary accommodation, which gives landlords the security of a guaranteed rent. We lease the property from them for 3 to 5 years. So some landlords prefer that, even though the rent is lower, but it gives that peace of mind. And the third option is emergency accommodation. So we have a need for emergency accommodation where we need to place clients quickly, sometimes for a few days, sometimes for a few months, just while we assess their case. So we're seeing a lot of landlords entering that market because the rents are higher, they're on a per night basis. That works well as well. So those are our three main schemes that we need to house single people and families in Brent.
Of course, and you want to work with landlords to support and maintain the tenancies as well, don't you?
Absolutely, So we have tenancy sustainment in-house. So on our leasing scheme, there's a property manager. On the AST route, we have tenancy sustainment, so landlords can come back to us if there is a problem, i.e. the tenants are not paying the rent. There's ways we can fix that for them by applying for direct payments. But ultimately, we want to work with landlords. We know it's quite tough, we know it's quite challenging, especially when you get the wrong tenant, but we're here to help. We want to sustain these tenancies for many years.
I'd much rather private sector landlords come to an authority like you than go to a rent-to-renter offering a guaranteed rent scheme, because very often they're going to sublet to your tenants anyway.
Absolutely, So we've seen this a lot where people rent-to-rent, they approach us, in a way cutting out the landlord. Sometimes that's warranted, sometimes that's not. But we prefer to deal with the owner of the property. They know what's going on, and it cuts out the middleman, it cuts out the commissions and so forth. It's quite tight at the moment with rents anyway, so we prefer to deal directly with landlords. We deal with letting agents as well, so we know letting agents can give us multiple properties, and we work with some trusted agents in our borough. But it's challenging, but it's good news at the end of the light, because the LHA rates are going up.
Yes,
so we're looking forward to that.
Indeed. Now, how many people, clients, have you got on your waiting list? Are you allowed to say?
I'll be guessing. I mean, it's not really my forte, but we've got a lot of clients in emergency accommodation, not just in Brent, but sometimes out of Brent. And emergency accommodation is very expensive for the council, so our objective is to get people out of emergency accommodation and put them in more long-term tenancies. So I couldn't really give you a number, but we've got a lot of people in emergency accommodation, in bed and breakfast. So
I mean, it's difficult for you because you're at the coalface trying to house clients. What do you think of central government's kind of very anti-landlord policies? You're obviously struggling to discharge your housing obligations into the private sector, and there's less landlords.
Yeah, I mean, I hear it every day from landlords. We've got landlords that we've got on leases for 3 to 5 years. They're coming to an end. They're coming to us and saying, look, please give us more rent. We can't sustain it. Obviously, the interest rates, the tax regulations, it's all had a massive impact on landlords. So landlords are now trying to find ways to maximise their income. They're venturing into HMO. They're venturing into emergency accommodation. So we understand. We understand it's tough for landlords. Personally, I think a lot needs to be done to help landlords. I think the tax is very, very difficult, especially when they want landlords to look at it as like a business, but they're not treating it like a business. I mean, how many businesses do you know get taxed on their income rather than their profits? You see what I mean? So I think landlords really need help right now.
Well, there has been an emergency meeting recently at Westminster with a lot of local authorities basically saying exactly what you said. It is an absolutely critical situation, a crisis situation, and we've got the budget happening as we speak today, we don't know yet what's going to be in that for landlords, but...
Yeah, I mean, we see it. It's just the private rents have gone so high. And understandably why, because landlords are struggling, so they have to put their rents up.
Indeed. So I guess final question, are you just looking for landlords within the borough of Brent, or will you accept landlords outside of there with properties?
Yep, so we're looking for properties anywhere. So we would go as far as the Midlands, we'd go as far as Bradford, Birmingham. The reason being is obviously London has become very unaffordable. Even at LHA rates, it's still unaffordable for some clients, especially the families that are capped. So we're trying to encourage these families to move further north to get cheaper accommodation. So we're looking at the Midlands, we're looking at sort of Wolverhampton, Walsall, those kind of areas where landlords have brought properties and investment. They've stepped away from London, moved further north, and those are the kind of properties that we want to take on, put our clients there so they can afford to live in the private sector.
So if a landlord's interested in working with Brent Council, I guess they can just go on the Brent Council website, your schemes and contact details are on there?
Yeah, absolutely. They can go on to Brent Council website, and if you just Google Rent with Brent, all the information's on there, and if I'm allowed to give the phone number out, it's 0208 937 2777. That will get through to the team. We're very, very keen to work with landlords, both locally and nationally.
Well, I've really enjoyed talking to you, and thank you for the important work that you do. And I know that it's very challenging for you, and it's great to see you here at the show. And good luck with finding more private sector landlords. We're becoming a bit of an endangered species.